Why do the most faithful struggle with this the most? You pray, you fast, you worship. But there's still that one battle, the one you never talk about, the one that makes you feel like a hypocrite every time you lift your hands in church. You want to be free, but you fall again. And every time, the guilt cuts deeper. You start wondering, is something wrong with me? Am I even truly saved? There's fear of being exposed, shame that you still haven't changed, and silence, the kind that makes you think even God has stopped speaking. But here's the truth. This isn't just a weakness, it's war. And the Bible warned us about it. The flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit. Galatians 5:17. This is the front line. And if you're feeling it, it's not because you're far from God. It's because you're getting closer. And the enemy knows it. Wilderness at dusk. A soul walking away from light. It didn't start with a sin. It started with a feeling, a quiet unease, a low hum of anxiety under the surface of ordinary days. Nothing was wrong, not on the outside. Life went on. Work, ministry, smiles. But the soul stirred, restless, distracted, unsure why. The Spirit testified, but the mind resisted. A battle was brewing, invisible but real. The inner man, the part formed in communion with God, sensed the pressure first. Before temptation showed its face, before any obvious cracks appeared, the soul had already begun to slip, not through rebellion, but through subtle compromise. Moments of prayer became shorter. Conviction began to feel more like inconvenience. The heart wasn't rejecting God, just quietly turning the volume down. The inner man is the first to feel the weight of spiritual pressure, long before the damage shows outwardly. And that's the danger, because when you're spiritually distracted, sin doesn't arrive like an enemy. It comes like a friend, a relief, a promise to quiet the ache, even if only for a moment. You tell yourself, it's not that serious, I'm just tired. But somewhere, grace has grown faint, and the pull of lust, though soft, is suddenly louder than the voice of God. They exchange the truth of God for a lie. Romans 1:25. You don't feel like you're running from God. But every compromise, every numb prayer, every quiet justification is a step further into shadow. And the most terrifying part? You don't even notice. Stormy night, a soul on its knees, surrounded by shadows. You reach a place where even the silence feels loud. You kneel but feel nothing. You speak and hear no reply. You search for God, and the heavens feel shut. What used to move you in worship now barely stirs your heart. Conviction still flickers, but you've grown numb to it. Guilt is present, but it doesn't lead to change, only to hiding, to shame. When a person drifts from God, he begins to search for a substitute. And the enemy knows it. He offers his own comfort, a false peace, a soothing escape, a shadow that looks like rest, but leads to deeper chains. The screen, the thought, the fantasy, anything to dull the ache. But the more you take in, the more empty you become. The flesh whispered, and the spirit was silent. This is where the true war begins, not in your actions, but in your silence. Inside, everything is frozen, still. And yet, in that stillness, something stirs. A thirst, not for pleasure, not even for relief, but for truth, for light, for the voice of God you once knew. You haven't heard him clearly in days, weeks, maybe months, but something deep within knows he's still near, not punishing, not rejecting, waiting. And that realization is terrifying and healing. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Matthew 5:6. You begin to feel it. This fast isn't just from food. It's a breaking, a shedding, a tearing down of lies you made your home. You're not free yet, but you're finally awake. And somewhere in the distance, still veiled, still quiet, God is already moving toward you. Friends, let me take a short pause right here. We're walking through something deep right now. And I know this isn't just my story. Would you share with me in the comments, where are you listening from? Have you ever felt something like this in your own life? That quiet season, where guilt was heavy and God seemed silent? How did He speak to you in that silence? What helped you hold on? Your story might encourage someone else right now. And if this message is stirring something in your heart, don't forget to subscribe. We're going even deeper into God's Word in the next parts. You're not alone in this journey, and I believe God is already speaking, even in the stillness. Rising sun, a soul washed clean, standing in light. He couldn't climb out. He had tried everything: discipline, fasting, willpower, but nothing broke the silence. Until one night, the walls finally fell. No more excuses, no more strength. Just tears and a broken whisper. God, I can't do this, but I don't want to live far from you anymore. He couldn't pull himself out, but God came. Not in thunder, not in fire, but in the stillness of a shattered prayer. Mercy entered the room, and with it, light. It wasn't dramatic, it was sacred. The kind of moment where heaven bends low to lift a soul from ashes, a broken and contrite heart you will not despise. Psalm 51:17. Forgiveness didn't come with shame. It came with cleansing, not with judgment, but with joy returning. The words of prayer flowed again, not polished, not long, but real, like a river unblocked after a long drought. And in that moment, something shifted. The chains weren't just broken. The identity was restored. He wasn't defined by the fall. He was marked by grace. The Spirit didn't remind him of who he had been. It reminded him of who he still was. Peace came back, not because he earned it, but because he received it. And with it came purpose, passion, a hunger for holiness not born of guilt, but of love. This wasn't just a return. It was a resurrection. And somehow, he knew the fall wasn't the end. It was the doorway to a deeper beginning. If you're in the middle of this battle, know this: you are not alone. This struggle is not proof that you're weak. It's proof that you carry a calling. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't a threat. But God is stronger, strong enough to restore even what feels dead. So don't stay in the shadows. Write, speak, share. Walk this path all the way. In God's light, your story is just beginning.